Hey everybody, it's time to swing with Still Swinging. And I'm your host, Thomas. And today, family, we headed to Detroit, Michigan. Okay, a 26-year-old Afeni Muhammad has been accused of the stabbing, unaliving a 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, mom of six, who has been working at McDonald's for the past 15 years on 9 Mile in Detroit, Michigan, and who was the mom of six. Yes, this lady has six children. Okay, she was the manager of McDonald's, just trying to make it. All right, just trying to live our life. We got 26-year-old Afeni Muhammad right here, who was accused of her slaying for a problem that the two got into in McDonald's. Okay, look, from all accounts, Afeni Muhammad should have been stopped. Okay, this is a young lady who just kept spiraling out of control. Okay, and this is where the disaster ended. Okay, look, fellas, I'm gonna give you a walkthrough of what happened in this case, and I give my assessment along the way. Fair use, family. Fair use.
We have been following the last few hours out of East Point, where police say an employee stabbing her own manager to death. This all happening inside a McDonald's on 9 Mile. That's where we find Fox 2's Camille Amiri joining us with the latest. Camille, a lot coming out of this.
Yeah, absolutely. We just spoke with the victim's daughter, who is absolutely beside herself. You're going to be hearing from her later today on our newscast, Fox 2 News at 5 o'clock. But first of all, let's break down what happened. And I think you've got some video that you can show. This was around 8 o'clock this morning here at the McDonald's in East Point on 9 Mile. There was some sort of verbal altercation between this manager and an employee who, incidentally, the daughter says they were friends, that they were friendly. The employee goes home, according to police, gets a knife, comes back, stabs the manager. We've learned her name is Jennifer Harris, 39 years old, 6 children, a single mom, working here for 15 years, stabs her to death. And then somebody in the drive-thru, this is happening in the area of where the employees are working in the drive-thru section of the fast food restaurant. Somebody going through the drive-thru, a CPL holder, sees everything happen. He shoots his gun in the air to try to stop everything. Unfortunately, he is not successful in doing so. But as the suspect is running out of the McDonald's, the police say that the man with the gun actually ran after her and held her at gunpoint until police arrived. She was arrested. Unfortunately, Jennifer Harris, 39 years old, died once she arrived at a hospital, multiple stab wounds. We did talk to an employee. Here's what she had to say about this horrible tragedy.
She left for 5 minutes. She came back with a mask on her face, and the only thing I seen was her hands. That's how I knew it was her. And she started stabbing her, and I ran for help, and basically asking everybody, like, help or whatever. I tried to stop her. It was no stopping her. She stabbed her everywhere.
Just an absolutely horrible, horrible situation. Again, coming up tonight at 5 o'clock, you'll be hearing from Jennifer Harris's oldest daughter. The family, these kids are ages 5 to 20, 6 children altogether. They were here earlier, just moments ago, absolutely beside themselves, really not understanding any of this and why this happened. They said that their mom, they called her, everyone's nickname for her was Jamma, that she got along with everybody. She always had a smile on her face, and that the suspect, they said, was always friendly to the children and giving them stickers and always laughing and smiling with them. So the family is having an incredibly hard time processing this. Of course, we're going to continue to follow this story, but that is the latest going on right now.
Detective Showers, please approach for the swear to. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the information being provided is true and accurate to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief, subject to penalties of perjury?
I do.
Put your hand down. With regard to the defendant, Afeni Muhammad, please set forth the factual basis for the warrant request.
Yes, Your Honor. On 7/10/25, McDonald's employee Afeni Muhammad stabbed McDonald's manager Jennifer Harris multiple times with a kitchen knife at the McDonald's restaurant at 179219 Mile. Harris was not armed at the time and died of her injuries. Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back." Muhammad was arrested on scene and the knife was recovered. Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle. When Muhammad returned to stab Harris, she entered the back entrance with a hooded mask over her face in an attempt to conceal her identity and attempted to flee the scene after the stabbing, but was stopped by an armed customer.
And the requested charges are murder in the first degree, count 2, dangerous weapon carrying with unlawful intent, and there's a habitual second notice offense. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
The warrant is being signed, and we can proceed to arraignment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Calling file number 25354, People versus Afeni Muhammad. Council appearances for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sean Hankel, appearing on behalf of the people.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Please, this honorable court, may I give a commentary on behalf of Mrs. Muhammad, who does appear to be assumed.
Your name, please, ma'am.
Afeni Muhammad.
Very good. You're here today for arraignment on the charges of murder in the first degree, premeditated, count 2, carrying a weapon with unlawful intent, and a habitual second notice. Mr. Licata, how does your client wish to proceed?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. At this time, my client is asking the court to enter a not guilty plea. This matter set for a probable cause conference at the preliminary exam. I have advised my client of her rights, as well as the charges against her and the potential penalties. We are ready to proceed on those grounds.
Very good. Ma'am, do you understand the nature of the charges against you to your satisfaction after talking to your attorney?
Yes.
Very good. I will go ahead and enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Are you requesting a court-appointed attorney?
Yes.
I will appoint an attorney to represent you. We'll set this matter for a probable cause conference on July 23rd, 2025 at 1 p.m. The preliminary examination will be on July 30th, 2025 at 1 p.m. As to bond, Mr. Licata.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Just briefly, my client is 26 years old, does live in the great city of East Point. Your Honor, my client is a high school graduate. In fact, is actually was taking some online classes for college for her physical therapy degree. Your Honor, there are some disturbing facts in this particular matter, but there are facts that haven't been brought out yet, and my client is extremely anxious to have those facts brought to light during the pendency of this case. She was in an extremely abusive relationship. It was not only mental but physical. That involved alcohol, which habitual second stems from, and her prior record. Your Honor, my client is a helpful person. She's a giving person. She's actually is credited with saving a life because of a 60-year-old who had skin cancer that she may go to the doctor to find out that that's exactly what it was, and that person is doing extremely well right now. I understand the facts that have been laid out today in the warrant, but at this time, Your Honor, we are asking the court to consider a bond in this matter that is appropriate, that my client can meet so that she can meet with her attorneys and prepare her defense in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the people.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Pursuant to court rule, the court is well within its authority to grant no bond involving any case involving murder. In this case, we are requesting no bond for this defendant. Also provided within the court rules are certain factors for this court to consider when determining whether to grant any bond at all, and in this case, we are requesting no bond as I indicate. First of all, the court can consider whether or not this defendant is a threat to the community. She entered a public building with other individuals, other employees that were present. She produced a weapon that was a knife longer than 3 inches, and she stabbed the victim multiple times, up to possibly as many as 15 times, eventually causing her death. There were other employees that were present at the time, some of which attempted to help the victim after the stabbing occurred. That alone is enough to show that there is a threat to the community. She then ran from the building to her vehicle, presumably with the intent to flee from the scene. She was stopped by a helpful bystander. You're also able to consider the likelihood of conviction in this case, given the facts as laid out by Detective Showers and the information that the prosecutors have reviewed in order to charge this defendant. There is a very high likelihood of conviction. And then finally, the defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case.
Him inside of the car. She pushed him inside of the car and she held him at knife point. And basically was telling him to stop bullying her, leave her alone. He better start working shifts for her. Things are going to be seen her way or the highway at the job. If not, that she was taking him to like an outer space and things like that. So he reported it to HR. Why he didn't call the police first, I mean, you guys would have to, ask him about that. Police first, I mean, you guys would have to, ask him about that. But when it was reported to HR, she made it seem as though to him, once they pulled them two into the office, that she was just kidding. Like, she was playing it. It was a joke. I thought we were friends. Like, that type of thing. So, yeah. I just want to say, you guys have to be patient with me and understand that I do have PTSD from the situation occurring, and I never thought I would have to relive this story again. I don't feel like justice was served, and I hope that now justice is going to be served. It's just sad that someone had to lose their life in order for this animal that she is to be caged. Seriously.
Fellas, what the young lady who just came off was explaining was the prior incident that the prosecutor was referring to when requesting that the judge deny Afeni Muhammad bail. Okay, she said she had a prior stabbing, and that's what this young lady was explaining. Okay, now the reason why I say this young lady Afeni Muhammad should have been stopped is this situation here. Okay, she was working at Taco Bell. Okay, in 2022, and the first incident at Taco Bell, she was asking a male employee, to come to work for her, and because I guess you can have people, if it's your shift at that particular restaurant, and you could trade shifts with a coworker or just have a coworker work your shift. So she wanted the guy who was a coworker of hers at that Taco Bell, and this Taco Bell was in Virginia. Okay, and so the guy wouldn't work for her, wouldn't work her shifts. So she got upset and she hid under the guy's car. Okay, now when the guy showed up, she had some shackles, shackled him up at knife point. She hopped out from under his car, shackled him up at knife point, and kept threatening him with a knife to him, telling him, that if he don't work her shifts when he tell her to, or do what she tell him to do, that she was going unalive him. He reported her to HR. They did nothing. All right, she told some kind of story about how she was just joking with him, and he thought they were friends. And he told him that this lady had a knife and was talking crazy to him, and they didn't even fire her. All right, they just let her keep working there. All right, and fellas, understand that this high behavior start to get out of control when they go unchecked. And and keep in mind, fellas, this behavior just keep progressing. So, she had problems in the past. These ain't her first signs of behavior. So look, let's get on with it, and I'll show you what else happened, and I'll get back with my commentary.
down out there. I just walked right through the rain. It felt so good.
And by the way, while we're taking this as a joke, Afeni's roommate, neighbor, the person she was living with or that was helping her, did you guys know that he's been missing for the past 2 weeks?
Yes.
So I don't have to listen to you doing this, and you're interrupting my music call on my phone. Please leave me alone. Stop. Stop. I'm just sitting at this park right now. I wanted I had to talk to my neighbor Wayne again and like clear up everything with him, because how I said how like he's always like he always like look at me a certain way or something, and I told him that like I don't want to have sex. I told him that. So it's like, you know, sometimes he would give me something to eat or something if I didn't make anyone on Instacart. I get that, but I told him like I don't want him thinking that that I owe him that just because he do that for me. Sometimes I want him to think that I owe him sex. So now
fellas, keep in mind, before your heart go all the way out to her, let me explain something to you. All right, what you're watching is the victimology of a professional victim. All right, you're watching the psychology of a professional victim. All right, now look, I've been through a couple of her Instagrams, and I seen a few. I broke this young lady down. All right, listen. From what I gather, she had sex with the guy, right? But now she up here screaming and got on video that he want to have sex with her and she don't want to have sex with him, and he pressing her for sex like a victim. No. See, what it is she live with him, all right? But she don't pay him, all right? Because she's struggling. She having a hard time. And that's how she got to stay there with him. All right, he an older white gentleman. All right, and the way she got to stay there with him is through sex. But then she get there and she move in. Okay, and now she think she give him sex when she want to give him sex. And if she want to give him sex when the rent due, and then he buys something to eat a couple times, she don't think he should be expecting no sex for that. And once you move into somebody's house under them conditions, you can't tell him what to expect sex for. You can't. Okay, yeah, I know in a decent world, he would just let you move in for free, let you use his stove for free, let you use his lights and air and shelter for free, and feed you when you ain't make money on Instacart for free. But yeah, in the real world, you know what it costs. And then she jump online and start screaming at the top of her lungs like this man is victimizing her and pressing her for sex when she has sex with him when she feel like it. All right, whenever it's time to pay him something, and she thinks she should be able to get the ration to him like that. Well, he don't personally feel that way, and I ain't here to judge one way or the other, fellas. I'm just letting you know that situation, for you get to thinking this just some big bad man bearing down on her. No, she moved in here under these conditions. Okay, she don't pay this man. Talking about this man, her roommate, and this man, her neighbor. No, she live in this man's house. Okay, she live in this man's house, and she don't really pay this man because she don't have it. That's why she here. She's struggling.
It's like he's been crying and crying and telling me that I use him. Dismissing everything that I do for him and did for him. Dismissing the fact that he had this condition that he'd been going through for a long time and nobody can help him. But me, I helped him. But I shouldn't have known.
Fellas, now this man is missing. He is missing. Okay, he been missing 2 weeks prior to this incident. Okay, and he live in the house with her. He ain't been seen in 2 weeks. Can't nobody find him. Okay, and these her Instagram posts. Okay, and you heard what she capable of doing already. Okay, now this young lady that you just seen come on, who is about to come back on, is her second victim. Remember, her first victim in Virginia was the man who went to HR about her putting a knife to him and threatening him if he don't work her shifts when she tell him to, that she gonna do great bodily harm to her. Okay, this a lady who wanna go around trying to push people around. She clearly think the world owe her something. All right, and listen, she used being a woman and her excuse and her excuses for her behavior as a reason for her behavior. Listen to how she rationalized what she do to people. You heard in court, her lawyer said, my client can't wait to give her side of the story because she believed her side of the story would be able to explain it. That's how she always get out of everything. She give her side of the story and people give her a slap on the wrist when you know she would have been stopped if she was a man. All right. So listen, let's listen to this young lady who are about to give her count of this young lady. And remember, this guy who she was making these Instagram posts about, he's missing. He's gone. Nobody seen or heard from him. The last person that seen or heard from her heard from him was this young lady right here, Afeni Muhammad.
His family made a missing report on him, kind of looking into that because we have a whole neighbor. I took it as he was her neighbor that was helping her out. But from what I'm understanding from going back and watching her page, is he was her roommate, a guy that let her live with him. He's missing. Nobody knows where he's at. Nobody knows where Wayne is. He's missing. So I just wanted to come and do a little update. I am currently at work right now, but I just wanted to address like a couple of the comments and stuff and the accusations that, even though I really don't care if y'all believe me or you don't, but here's just a little bit of proof. These are just a couple of my old marks from, and I will finish.
So I did
when I get off of work. This is the last disclaimer I'm gonna post. Yes, this occurred in 2022, but if you go back to the first part of my story, and it's a shame that everybody's so peanut brain, like the people that are being peanut brain, we started working there in 2019. That's why I said 2019. We started working there in 2019. So this occurred over time.
Damn.
And the incident occurred in 2022.
So it took a while for her to get there.
Afeni, look. You on the camera.
To even explain, to get to the part of the cutting, stabbing, or anything like that. We started the job in 2019. I started the job in 2019. She came along after that. It occurred in 2022. Okay? I just wanted to come and this is...
Fellas, they playing that music in the background and you know YouTube ain't gonna go for that. All right, so let me explain to you what she said. Okay, what she said was after that incident happened with the guy that worked there at the store, this young lady, Afeni Muhammad, approached her and asked her to work a shift for her. And she told her she wasn't doing it. All right, because they said Afeni was weird. All right, really weird. Like she would take a lot of breaks. And they said, you know, she wouldn't be like and remember, they work at Taco Bell. All right. So she said Afeni started working there later. She started working there in 2019. Afeni came along a lot later. Okay, and started working there. And she was having problems, a lot of problems there, but they wouldn't get rid of Afeni. All right, she had that incident with the guy where she put the knife to him and threatened his life. And he reported her to HR. She still kept working there. She made up a story. Now, with this incident with this young lady, after the young lady told her that she couldn't work the shift for her, Afeni got in her feelings. All right, she was upset about it. All right, but the lady didn't take it as they had no beef or nothing like that. She said so. A few days later, Afeni asked her to come to the freezer with her and help her grab a box. She said she ain't know what kind of box. She don't remember what kind of box, but she knows she went to the freezer to assist Afeni. She said when they got to the freezer, Afeni drew a knife and pushed her up against the wall and start talking crazy and telling her, look, if I tell you to work a shift, now you don't want to do what I say, y'all gonna start respecting me up in here. Y'all don't want to respect me. And she was like, she was taking the knife and popping and hitting herself in the head and while she was talking. And then this young lady was saying she was trying to calm her down. And while she was trying to calm her down, Afeni was telling her, shut up. I'm talking, they talking to me, like some voices was talking to her. So she was like, she ain't know what she was going through. So she said the only thing she could think to do was try to just control her wrist so she couldn't swing the knife. She said, so she grabbed her wrist and said, look, just calm down. Listen, if all of this is over a shift, I'll work the shift for you. She said Afeni drew the knife back and just started cutting her. And that's how that incident took place. Now, what happened was this young lady said she was traumatized. She said she left the job and all. I understand because they should have got rid of Afeni with the first incident, but they didn't. You see how her behavior spiraled and it just escalated with the next event because she just explained the first one, knowing that if I would have done that to that man, I couldn't have walked in HR and explained that. I could not have walked in HR and explained that. All right, they would have got rid of me, but a woman can walk in there and it's a man and look, they're not going to take her serious. And the next thing you know, being as though she just explained her way out of that, why not do this too? Because she could just explain her way out of this, right? No, she ended up in handcuffs and arrested. And this lady front and center in court, and she don't feel like she got justice because they never sent Afeni to jail. They just gave her probation and she disappeared. End up in Detroit. 3 years later, this what she done, fellas. Now you make your assessment. I ain't making none yet, but let's keep listening.
Given all of those factors, and given the fact that this court does have authority to give no bond to defendants charged with murder, I am asking at this time for no bond in this case.
Thank you, counsel. The court has reviewed the charges and the circumstances surrounding this case. The defendant is facing various serious charges, including murder in the first degree, which is one of the most serious criminal offenses in our state, carrying penalties up to life without parole. Additionally, carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent further underscores defendant's potential threat to public safety. Defendant has a prior criminal record out of Virginia for malicious wounding. It was actually felony malicious wounding that was reduced to unlawful bodily injury concerning a stabbing, and that is what gives rise to the habitual second. And in determining bond, the court must look to the factors outlined in Michigan Court Rule 6.106. Number one, the seriousness of the offense and the danger posed to the community. The charges here involved a violent crime with a weapon, indicating a substantial risk to the public. The court finds there is a significant threat to public safety and therefore the bond must reflect that risk. Number two, the weight of the evidence against the defendant. While the evidence is not fully before us and the defendant is cloaked with the presumption of innocence, the nature of the charges along with the prior criminal history suggests that there is substantial evidence against the defendant. Defendant's criminal history: the defendant has a violent criminal past. The history supports the court's concern that the defendant may engage in further violent conduct if she is released. The defendant's ties to the community: while the defendant is relatively young at 26 years of age, there's no indication that she has any significant stabilizing ties to the community that would ensure her return for court appearances. Without these ties, the court is concerned about the likelihood of flight. Number five, defendant's risk of fleeing or failing to appear. Due to the severity of the charges and the habitual offender status, it makes the defendant a high risk for flight. The court finds that this factor weighs heavily in favor of a high bond amount. Substance abuse or mental treatment: although there are no reports at this time suggesting that the defendant suffers from mental health or substance abuse issues that would mitigate the risks posed by defendant's release, the court is, after considering all of these factors, going to be setting bond at $25 million cash surety only with conditions. If the defendant is able to meet those, post the $25 million bond, she will remain in custody pending further proceedings. And that concludes this matter for today. We will see you back here, ma'am, on July 23rd at 1 o'clock for your probable cause conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
It ain't.
Just 48 hours before allegedly stabbing her manager to death inside of a Detroit McDonald's, Afeni Muhammad posted that very angry Instagram rant. And now that video is at the center of a murder case that prosecutors say was premeditated and hauntingly foreshadowed. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, just 2 days before she allegedly stabbed her manager to death, Afeni Muhammad posted this furious Instagram video seething about being sent home early for the second day in a row.
I got sent home early yesterday. I got sent home early today by the same person. I'm telling you, she's a bully. This isn't funny. She needs to understand that just because she's a mother and got children doesn't mean that she can come in the store, you know, disrespecting people, talking to them like everybody's beneath her. Gonna have to stop. She's a bully. I'm telling you, she's a bully.
And that was followed by what could be perceived as a foreboding warning.
She could keep being a bully if she wants to, but that is going to catch up to her. Because it ain't funny at all. It ain't.
Now, by Thursday, July 10th, 2025, those words became a horrifying reality because the 26-year-old is now accused of ambushing her manager, 39-year-old Jennifer Harris, at the 9 Mile Road McDonald's in Detroit, stabbing her up to 15 times with a kitchen knife in a brutal attack that prosecutors are saying is a premeditated murder. We're going to start from the top. We're going to take you through how all of this apparent violence unfolded. This was just before 8 a.m. on July 10th. Jennifer Harris, this longtime manager at the East Point McDonald's, sent Afeni Muhammad home early following this heated argument that detectives say was sparked by Muhammad not performing her work duties. Now, Muhammad did go home, but not before reportedly saying to Harris, "I'll be back." And apparently she wasn't lying, because after being dismissed, police say they allege that Muhammad drove to a nearby park, but instead of cooling off, she made a fateful decision. Allegedly retrieving a kitchen knife from her car, Muhammad returned to the quick service chain, but this time prosecutors say she wore a hooded mask over her face to conceal her identity, slipped through the back employee entrance, and what happened next, according to prosecutors, was nothing short of savage. Muhammad allegedly ambushed Harris, stabbing her repeatedly in a frenzied attack. Co-workers scrambled to help Harris, but the damage was too severe. She was rushed to a hospital, and sadly, she later succumbed to her injuries. Such a sad case.
Fellas, am I detecting some underlying issues, maybe some kind of, mental health, maybe, but I'm not a doctor, and I'm not here to make that assessment and try telling that to the victim's 6 children. All right, because there are victims here, fellas. You know, and this young lady not a victim. All right, this young lady was as rebel could get. And if you talk to any rebel, they got their cause. The problem is she can't force nobody to join her cause, okay, and give her what she want. All right, notice all these incidents occur whenever she can't get something she want. Okay, now this lady, Jennifer Harris, got a job to do. She a manager at McDonald's. She's an employee. And keep in mind, this employee got problems everywhere she go, from Bojangles to Taco Bell to here at McDonald's. And I'm sure there have been other incidents with this young lady, just not reported. Okay, or whenever she can't get her way. Okay, this lady sent her home. And by all accounts, this lady was just a regular manager going about doing her job. And this lady play a lot of games. This lady, Afeni Muhammad. And she think if she can't get nobody to go for it, she should be able to make them. And if she can't make them, she going to use force. She going to get her knife. Okay, which is what she did again in the same incident. So maybe mental health, but more of, listen, this a lady who behavior just kept going unchecked. Okay, and like anybody else, where each incident she get away with, her behavior just get more emboldened. Okay, and eventually disaster strike with her behavior. Okay, and in court, what does she still think? She still thinks she just can explain it. Why? Because that's how she been getting away with it all the way up until this point. All the way up until this point, she just explained it, and that's how she here today. Because if I would have asked that lady to come into the freezer with me, with a planned mission, clearly a planned mission, to do something that drastic as take out my knife and start cutting this lady just because she won't work for me in the shift, and want her to do it and she won't do it. You think they would have just gave me probation and I just ended up in another city with my same behavior unchecked? No. I would have been in a cell where Miss Afeni Muhammad should have been. This should have never happened to this young lady. All right. And I seen them online. I read the comments on the lady TikTok. And they say, well, you don't know how people might be feeling. You don't know what people might be going through. Whatever you're going through is your business. It ain't nobody else's business, because we all going through something. All right. And then she got this lady 6 kids going through something. All right. Because she thinks she's supposed to be able to show up at work and do whatever she feel like. And when she see it ain't going to happen for her, because the boss don't want to send her home. If he send her home, he got to get somebody else to do her job. And that's a whole nother hassle. Okay. So she out of pocket if she getting sent home. She getting sent home for a reason, and she think it should just be accepted that she out of pocket and should still be able to stay on the clock and get paid, when we know that's not how life works. But if you talk to the ghetto society, they should have just left her alone and let her do whatever she want, and that way she wouldn't have brought great bodily harm to somebody who didn't deserve it, as if this some kind of excuse. Listen, you got to explain this to some people who want to know why their mama gone. All right, because I felt these people.
My mama was good. My mama was so good. It's hard to sit right here and talk about her. This was never a thought. We never got to none of this. never even discussed that or what would happen when she was not here with us. I don't even know if my siblings understand what's going on. It's hard to even see them cry. I don't want to break y'all and stand them crying for them because it hurts them. Imagine the shock and my siblings. Right up my gosh, that you proud of all of us. Even just scaring this day for not being angry. For still choosing peace.
Back with you.
My mom worked fire at church, like I said. My mom worked even at been at McDonald's if it wasn't for us. She could have. My mom, like I said, she was on there. She left. She came down. She was tired. Yes, she was tired. And she still woke up every day. My mama left and came back. I was the one who told her to come back to McDonald's. Because it worked out for our family, it worked out for us. And she was happy here. She was a manager. I remember when I first started working at McDonald's, my mama came to work with me, and we worked together for so long at a different church house, but it's just, all I have is all those good memories of my mama. These past couple of days, all I could think of is seeing my mama in there, doing her job, and then being attacked by somebody that she trusted. I'm lucky it was Duke. That's all I had to do. My mind is and twisties going on. I don't know what to do with that. I would like to thank God for blessing my siblings and I with a mother like ours. She was the best. Last but not least, I would like to say that life is short and we need to stop the hate and division in this country because it brings the worst out of us and leads to senseless acts like this.
Fellas, this broke me up. It broke me up. Let me tell you why. All right, because this didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen. A stop was supposed to have been put to Afeni Muhammad. All right, she was clearly out of control and wasn't going to get better. All right, you've seen the natural progression of her behavior like behaviors naturally progress. She spiraled straight out of control. All right, she been out of control. She just been on the loose. All right, and now this family's suffering. And I see this young lady. All right, whole life ahead of her. Got to figure out the rest of it without mama, without her support. All right, and it's a travesty. It's a travesty. And do you think, fellas, that Afeni Muhammad, do you think it was her mental health? Or do you think Afeni Muhammad was a rebel just believing in her cause? Because remember, you heard in court, her attorney, she can't wait to tell her side of the story because she think her side of the story you just clear all this up and explain it, you know, like it always done. All right. She don't know the kind of trouble she in. All right. We know the kind of trouble she in, and she ain't gonna just be able to explain it. You see the look on her face when she came in court, she look unbothered because she thinks she just gonna explain it and get out. Okay, you see her look on her face when they gave her the $25 million bond, still didn't change. She looked like a seasoned veteran who come in there and do this all the time. Like this more just a formality than a life-altering situation for a woman. No, not this rebel. This rebel thinks she gonna just be able to explain it. And y'all should need to just let her out after she explained it. Like y'all did all the countless times before. Okay, do you think that's the problem, fellas? Or do you think the problem is it was her mental health? When I saw the TikTok comments of these people, these ladies coming to her defense talking about, well, that's why y'all need to just leave people alone. She think just because she the manager, she could boss people around. And I'm thinking like she the manager, that is her boss. And yeah, that's her job, to be here bossing people around, to make sure you working and not doing the kind of stuff they say Afeni around here doing. All right, look, you can't get sympathy. All right, when I'm looking at the people who deserve all the sympathy and you the perpetrator, it ain't gonna work for you. Your feelings not gonna justify what you've done. That's why most men who live in their feelings live in the penitentiary. All right, Afeni, if she was a man, she would have been in the penitentiary, and we all know this. But she a woman. You see the privileges of a woman. The privileges of a woman got that woman, that mother of six, who's just trying to take care of her life and the things she created and be a responsible lady, gone for nothing, just making a decision at work, a regular decision at work. Okay, she just happened to make that regular decision to somebody who don't think you know authority to her. She don't think nobody know authority to her. She thinks she should be able to come in here and do whatever she want. All right, you see, she thinks she deserve everything. And in return, she thinks she should just give up what she feel like, forgetting everything. Like she moved in that man's house, knowing the only reason he letting her live here. And then when he wants something, she don't feel like giving it to him. She don't think he paying enough. She turned on her camera and turned into a victim real quick. And remember, now he missing, guys. He missing. All right, victim number one that we know about of Miss Afeni Muhammad. The guy in Virginia at Taco Bell. Victim number two of her knife. Victim number two of her knife. That lady in Virginia who she lured into the freezer to help her move some boxes, her co-worker, pulled out a knife and cut that lady up. Okay, and just told the story, got out of that one. Now, this young lady is in Detroit, Michigan, East Point, Michigan, with her knife again. Now this gentleman is missing. Who let her live in this house. All right. I don't know what their setup was. I ain't gonna assume. But I know she was doing bad. Didn't have no money. That's how she ended up staying there. All right. So we already know what that man considered the deal was going to be for her staying there, and she let him to believe that. So he believed you don't get to tell him how much, okay? Because you don't tell the landlord how much you're going to pay for rent. No way on the planet. He tell you how much it costs to live here. And you don't get to turn your camera on and start screaming when he start asking for the money. All right? This young lady, in my opinion, was going to push people around. All right. And if she couldn't push you around, she going to play the victim. She going to turn that camera on and start screaming. All right. In the ghetto society, guess what they going to do? Guess what they going to do? They going to hear her screams and come to her rescue and say, y'all shouldn't have been messing with her. All right. No, these people live in their lives. She show up and everywhere she go, it's a problem. And like my dad always told me, when you got a problem with everybody, the problem is probably you. All right. They should have been put a stop to Afeni Muhammad. All right. Rest in peace to Miss 39-year-old Jennifer Harris. My condolences to her family, her 6 children, everybody who loved her. All right. Look, my heart goes out to her. All right. I want to send a shout out to my subscriber who sent me this piece and asked me to do it. It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure, Peter Rose. All right, anytime, my brother. And listen, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button, because y'all know I be bringing it. Fair use, family. Fair use.